All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Words Have Power. I am Words or Shelley, whichever. I moved the camera, so now I have to move everything else because why not? Just make it even more interesting than normal. Okay, the sound sounds like it might be okay to me. Hopefully. Here's hoping. Hey, Phoenix, how you doing? Hey, baby, how you doing? I was hoping to get more people in here. Hopefully, we'll see. If y'all wouldn't mind sharing this, this is kind of the whole point of why I started live streaming in the first place. Thank you, Phoenix. I'm so used to calling you the other name. So I might slip back into Luna. Ooh, damn. Okay, that coffee is strong. All right. I will be awake for this live stream. That is for sure. A little bit of house cleaning. Yesterday, I was going to live stream. I had it all set up. And then we got a late box for Christmas in, and it had a gift card to Applebee's. And we were going to go grocery shopping. We're going to have lunch, go grocery shopping, do all the things like you do. Maki and I decided to have a pina colada, which I've never had one because I very rarely drink alcohol. And that was not a good decision. We did not go grocery shopping. I came home and I crashed out on the couch. I just crashed where I landed kind of thing. I'm not a drinker. I'm just not. It tasted good. Alcohol and me don't mix. And I get that now because so yeah. So I didn't live stream yesterday, and I didn't even get a chance to post anything on the community tab because I was just like, I'm done with the day. Hello, Angel. How you doing? A Pavlov's corn dog. That's a good name right there. Crashing where I land. That's a rare thing for me. That's a very, very rare thing. Okay. All right. So as a point of clarification, I have been subscribed to and watching the videos of the person in question for, I think, a year or something. I don't know. That's Aaron Smith Levin, growing up in Scientology. And we did a live stream before where we talked about a situation that happened in Southern California in LA. And I defended him in that because men can be abused too. And I hadn't heard, I don't know if the woman involved in the situation said anything publicly. I didn't see anything. But it's a thing that we really need to acknowledge, that men can in fact be abused too. And when you have a cut on your foot like he did, people were saying, why didn't he just run away? Well, if you have a cut on your foot like that, you're typically not going to be running anywhere. Okay. I know because I've experienced that. I've experienced foot problems, and you're not running. You're gingerly walking is what you're doing, right? I will not take that video down because it still stands. Men can be abused too. And I don't know what happened there. I wasn't there. I don't know what the woman involved in that situation would say. So I'm not taking that video down. I stand by what I said in that men are and can be abused too. You were subbed back during the Coof spoof. Huh. Well, I'm glad you found us again. It's, good to see you. Coof spoof, I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what that means. I'm old, and there are going to be things I don't know. I'm like, what? A lot of the slang now, I'm like, I have no idea what's happening here. All right, so I had someone. Oh, right. Yeah. Yep. I had someone send me a couple of videos, and then someone else sent me a couple more. And there were a lot of questions, and I decided to do this live stream because for those of you who've been following me for a while, you probably know why I started making videos in this channel in the first place. And that is DV, a very bad situation of DV, very, very fatal, of a woman who's a friend of mine, and the way she has been treated posthumously by media. That was why I started this channel. We talk about other things because abuse tactics can be utilized by any group. It can be one person who's abusive, or it can be a whole group. Scientology, for example, displays horrific levels of abuse tactics. I'm a former victims advocate. That was my job. So I was the person who would come up to the hospital to meet you, or drive you to appointments, be in the courtroom with you, be there with you when you were speaking with law enforcement, whatever was needed. I volunteered at several different local groups out in California. Mostly I was in New Orleans, Louisiana, but also California, Florida, and a couple other states. Because some places have a serious backlog of victims and also not enough victims advocates. Gang stalking is real. Yes, that is true. Gang stalking is real. The so-called experts haven't really caught up with that yet. Eventually they will, and eventually, hopefully, the courts will get a chance to catch up with that too. Okay, so this is a hard one to talk about because I really liked Aaron. I liked his content. I liked his energy in his videos and all that. He seemed like a galvanizing force to help with the problems of Scientology. I'm all for that. Point of clarification. Yes, Scientology does call it fair gaming because they have to make up new language. That's part of the whole thing they do. Okay. Point of clarification. I lost 2 friends to Scientology. I've also had several run-ins with Scientology. After a loved one of mine passed away in my teens, there were a couple Scientologists who I didn't know who they were. They came up to that loved one's house, and I was the only one there. And they were trying to get a hold of the significant other of the person who passed. And I lost my shit. I didn't know who they were. I didn't care who they were. I went off on them. It was the first time I ever really cussed. And boy, howdy did I. And they ran real quick. All the neighbors came out. It was a thing. I thought I was in trouble, but I was not. No, I was not. Then, again, after Katrina, there was a group of them that came into the hotel where I was working security. Wrong time, wrong place. Wrong person to mess with. This was right as the city was beginning to let people come in. And I'd already been there for a while, so I was like sleep deprived, not taking any ish from anyone ever at all. Like, I didn't care who you were. You could have been the president. I would have handed you your whole ass. Okay? It was not good for them. And my guys were in the same place I was. Everyone understood the assignment, and it was getting them out of the hotel room, or out of the hotel lobby. I mean, I had just come out of my hotel room, actually. And there was another time, and then this is another live stream I have to do. I have to find the envelopes, but I've been sent Scientology bullshit in the mail. I found out how that came to get to me, by the way. And yeah, I'll do a separate live stream about that. Here's the thing. I don't want anything from Scientology but my two friends back. That's it. Otherwise, I want Scientology to go the way of the dinosaur, which, all things considered, they shouldn't have a problem with that, right? It should be fine, right? They'll just reincarnate. It's fine. You can't make this shit up, except you can if you are L. Ron Hubbard. And here's my question. Let's start off with this, all right? I've had this question for a long time, and I've never had the possibility of asking this question. Let's look at L. Ron Hubbard and how he treated his significant others, family, friends, children, grandchildren. How did he treat them? Horrifically. In fact, one of his significant others, he took their very young child, took off to another country, called the significant other and told her that he unalived that child. He used that child to torture that significant other. That's what that was. That was abuse and torture. Is abuse of women baked into Scientology? I refuse to call it a religion. It's not a religion. Is abuse baked into all of Scientology? And it's not just in like domestic relationships or situationships. Those are situationships, not really relationships, right? When you have the top person abusing people, you have higher ups abusing people, you have, it's just abuse all over the place. And it seems like it also transfers over into children who are raised in this money-making scheme. In my opinion, that is what Scientology is, and I have every right to my opinion. If anyone doesn't like that, go fuck yourself. All right. Look at the Lisa McPherson case. Look at the serial Red Rummer who was hiding out in Scientology. You can't tell me they didn't know. Look at Danny Masterson. Everything that went down with that. That's abuse and torture. Look at the way children were treated back in the day. I don't know if they still are or not now, but forced labor, forced child labor, sleep deprivation, a lack of nutritious food. I can go on and on and on. It appears to me, as a victim's advocate, a certified victim's advocate, it appears to me that abuse is hard baked into the very foundation of Scientology by L. Ron Hubbard, who, by the way, was into way more ish than people seem to realize. Yes, he was at one point working with I can't remember if it was Aleister Crowley himself or his friends. He was working with the guy who was in NASA. I have completely blanked on his name. I just had it a minute ago. He was like a literal rocket scientist, and he was into Aleister Crowley type stuff. When you look at what L. Ron Hubbard did to his friends, seducing and absconding with someone's wife and their expensive boat, just leaving out. That's what he does to a friend. Warner Von Braun. No, I think it wasn't it Parsons, Jack Parsons, if I'm not mistaken. Hi, Retired Red. How you doing? I didn't even say hi to everybody yet, but you know, we'll get to that point, okay? I need to get this out of my head because, oh my God. Okay, so last night I sent these videos and I start watching them now. When I had seen that Aaron and Jenna Miscavige were getting friendly, I was like, maybe not a good thing. Trauma bonding is a thing. Trauma bonding is a thing you got to watch out for when you've been in highly toxic situations. That's a thing to be careful of. Yeah, I feel you on that one. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So when I saw that Aaron and Jenna were, to me, it appeared that they were in a committed relationship. That's what it looked like. And I think that's probably what it looked like to most people. I'm just going to say it. It looked like they were in a serious relationship. And I think it was meant to look that way. There's a thing I normally don't do on this channel. I normally don't share videos on here because I respect people's content and I don't like stealing from people. It feels like plagiarism to me. Right on, Luna. Love you, miss you. It's good seeing you. I want to show these videos in particular because the things that they are talking about is a prime example of several different types of abuse. I could just describe it to y'all, but I don't want to misrepresent. This is a dilemma because I don't know Jenna Miscavige. I don't know Lindsay. It's not just one person. It's not just one person in Southern California who was freaking out. It is more than that. Okay, so I watched the two videos. I watched two videos from Jenna Miscavige, and I watched two videos from Lindsay. It almost gives me a headache even thinking about sharing someone else's videos when this is their trauma. This is their lived experience, and I have been there. So many of us have. I don't have contact information for either of them to get their permission. So I think I'm just not going to. Instead, I will talk about the things they described. And I will give you my difficult videos to watch. Yes. And I also don't want to trigger anyone because I have people who will come back on the replay crew who are survivors as well. So I don't want to trigger them. And I've been there. Not Aaron, completely different guy. I've been there. So many of us who have survived DV have been there. And I don't think that when you're in it, it's hard to see the fact that you're not alone. It is so hard to see because you're in a dark tunnel and it feels like there's never going to be a way out. And what you don't realize is that you're at one end of that dark tunnel. And all you have to do is keep on going through it. It's hard. It sucks. It hurts. Don't let them back in your life. Don't dare. Once you get to a certain point, there'll be a curve. The tunnel has a curve. And once you get past that curve, you see the light at the end of the tunnel and you're almost out. You're almost there. It's like, you're so close, right? And then once you get out, all that weight just lifts off of you. That's what I experienced. And that's what a lot of other survivors have told me they experienced as well. Yeah. Yep. So, okay, so I'm not gonna look at the chat because I get distracted. And I know I'm not alone in that. I'm just gonna tell you what I saw in those videos as a former victims advocate, a currently certified victims advocate. Okay, so when an abuser tells you, don't you tell anyone about this, this is private, okay, this is between you and me, that is coercive control. That's also threats and intimidation, especially if there's a power imbalance and that person has a huge platform with all kinds of stands that they could, in theory, weaponize against you. That is a direct threat and direct intimidation. Here's the thing, though. Abuse thrives in the darkness. Abuse thrives in privacy. When you're private with it and you don't tell anyone, not only will the abuse continue, but on top of that, it might get worse, and you're alone and you have no one to talk to. And at the same time, you're more than likely going to be feeling shame, guilt, fear. It's a pain that is difficult to describe. It's almost like you can't breathe. And that affects your ability to sleep, eat, function, do anything. Because the person who says that they love you, or even if they don't say they love you, but they act like they care about you and act like they're a safe person for you, you know they're not. But it can be really hard to face that. And there's a thing that Dr. Ramadi coined a term called betrayal blindness. I love this term so much because it's so true. You don't want to see and face and confront and do something about the actual problem that's happening because you're already overwhelmed as it is with what you're experiencing and with having no one to talk with about it. So it's already difficult. Hold on, y'all. Just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I apologize. I love you. Okay, can you hear me? Hello? Shoot. Okay. All right, I think the sound should be good. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Retired Red. All right, so where was I? I got interrupted. We have a cat that's unhappy about not being able to get in the room. Oh, privacy. Right. Okay, so everyone has a right to privacy, but if you are harming someone, guess what? If you're hurting someone, at that point, you have made a choice. You have made a decision to abuse someone. And once you start abusing someone, you no longer have that right to privacy in that situation. If it's something like you have penile dysfunction or something like that, sure, you have a right to privacy on that. That's your personal panini. That's your right to privacy. Absolutely. But when you're hurting people, you no longer have that right to privacy. That person's going to need support. And if you don't want people to know what you're doing, don't do it. It's one or the other. Pick one. This right here. I'm just going to leave this up for a while because I'm going to lay down some goddamn truth for a second. If you are abusing women or men or children or elderly people or anyone or animals, you don't have a right to fucking a privacy. What makes you think you have a right to privacy? What makes you think that you have a right to keep those skeletons not only in your closet, but in that victim's closet? Absolutely the fuck not. You don't have a right to privacy. And if you don't like it, don't do it. We all have choices as adults of what we are or are not going to do. And sitting there trying to hide behind, well, open relationships, everyone needs to know. If you have an open relationship, it is your responsibility as a grown-ass human to inform everyone of what is going on. Read the book, Ethical SLUT. There are a whole bunch of other books out there that are really good, too. But for some people, they're too goddamn lazy to do the thing that is respectful of everyone involved and educate themselves on how to be respectful in those situations. In the first goddamn place, you want to play the field? Play the fucking field. Go ahead. But don't potentially bring STIs to people, because guess what? In some jurisdictions, that is a crime. That is a criminal offense. STIs are not a joke. Some of them don't go away. Some of them are mutating so that they will no longer even be affected by antibiotics. And here you are slinging your dick around like whoop-de-doo. Must be great for you. You might not show signs of having an STI though until much later. And then you got all these women that you're sleeping with who don't know about each other. That's not ethical. That's not responsible. That's not adulting. That's being a hoe. And that is hurting people. And then when you listen, what I saw Lindsay and God, Jenna, Jesus, of all people to harm, describing was coercive control, isolation, social isolation. When you tell people they can't talk to anyone else about what is going on in that relationship, that is social isolation. That is an abuse tactic. FYI. When the people that you act like you care about are so depressed and hurt by your behavior that they can't get up out of bed and they can't stop crying and feeling like trash, like garbage, because you're treating them like garbage, there's a problem. And when it's multiple people, that shows a pattern of behavior. And when you're talking about women like you are the vag slayer, that's sexist, misogynistic, and disgusting all at the same time. Kudos to you for being a vag slayer. I hope you're proud of yourself, because you've lost all fucking credibility. So wear it like a mantle, dude. You're not a vag slayer. You're a heart slayer. There's a difference. Bob Marley said, if you open a woman's heart and then treat her like garbage, there's something wrong with you. And I'm paraphrasing that. I don't remember the exact quote, but damn. What I saw in these videos was women who are hurt They have every right to come out publicly and talk about this. It is their lived experience. You know what? When you do horrific things like this to people, there are going to be consequences. Guess what? The consequences came and got you, dude. They got you. Now I'm wondering, and everybody else is wondering, what actually happened with that situation in LA? What actually happened there? How many other women have you done this to? A lot of there's going to be a lot of women who were and are sub to you. I know I unsubscribed. I'm not going to be subscribed to a dude who calls himself a vag slayer. That's not happening. I'm not going to be subscribed to a dude who treats women like this. I have these videos up right here. I'm looking at Jenna's face and I'm just heartbroken for her because I know I've been there. The healing journey she's going to have to go on is going to take time. And here's the thing. Lindsay talked about her 5 years. I think it was 4 or 5 years dealing with this behavior. Where he leaves, right? He's there. Like he's there, he's with her, right? At the same time, he's married. What has his wife been going through? Firstly, okay, what has she been going through? I hope she's okay. So he's got his wife, he's got Lindsay, but with Lindsay, and Jenna said the same thing, he would ghost them. That's not ghosting, baby. That's not what that is. That's part of the reason I'm doing this video. That's not ghosting. That's stonewall. Stonewalling and gray rock are two forms of silence. Stonewall is when an abuser is trying to train you how to behave. They don't like something you say or do, so they stop speaking to you. They stop giving you any kind of interaction at all. They don't answer your questions, even if it's something really super important, like, a child's appointment for a doctor or something. They just stonewall you. Stonewalling is extremely abusive because it makes the victim feel like, what do I do to make it better? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then you're in that hamster wheel, just running. It's an abuse tactic. It's part of coercive control. It is part of coercive control. That's not ghosting what they experienced. It's stonewall. Gray rock is where you realize you're dealing with somebody who's toxic. You don't want to deal with it anymore. You don't want to be abused anymore. So either you go no contact and you do not respond to them at all. No emotional response, no verbal or any other response. You don't say hi, bye, or F you. You say nothing. I had one of my exes come up to me in public at a club back in the day. Like, we were best buddies and we were not. And he's doing this and I'm just like, didn't say nothing to him. Turned around and walked away. Like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Because he was cheating all over the place. And I knew about all of it. And I became friends with many of his mistresses because they didn't know about me. We became friends. I started dating one of the chicks. She was amazing. So there's stonewall, which is an abuse tactic, and there's gray rock, which is a protection tactic, okay? Two very different things. Both Jenna and Lindsay, with what they were describing yelling and screaming to the point that his voice would be almost shot. And people would tell him in live streams the next day to stop smoking cigars because they were destroying his voice. But what people didn't know was that he was actually just yelling at Jenna and probably Lindsay so much that it was hurting his throat. How is that any different from what David Miscavige and so many others in Scientology do? How is that any different? He calls out, let me get this straight. He calls out David Miscavige for doing the very thing that he's doing when it comes to abuse tactics. Do I have that straight? I'm going to wait for something to come up in the chat. Do I have that straight? Because that's what's being reported. By the way, I'm in the hottest room of the house besides the room right above me. Both of these rooms are super hot, so I am so sweaty. But I can tell you what I'm not. I am not on nose candy. And I think that might be part of the problem, maybe. Do we have that straight? Okay. I know I can't open this window here, though, I don't think. I wish I could. It's hot in here, dude. Hold on. I have a thing. Okay, I can fix that. Oh, it's winter here, but it is hotter than Hades up in this room. I'm not complaining. I'm thankful. Okay, pretty fan. All right, so there was a law of coercive control in these videos, and then someone, and thank you, baby. And then someone sent me a video of a notification that, oh no, Nora, I think is their name. They were doing a live stream. It was a long live stream, y'all. I had to go back to the very beginning. It was long, but there was so much information in there. So there were things I didn't know. She showed Aaron's apology video. That was not an apology video. No, absolutely no responsibility was taken there. That was a sympathy ploy. That was I'm so sorry that you feel that way. I'm going to change. I'm going to do the things, and I'm going to be a better person. And I promise I will never do it again. How many times have all of you who've been in a TV situation, we have all heard this. That is standard, almost scripted, without even being scripted. It's just standard. It's typical. Immediately after being called out and held responsible, I swear I'll never do it again. Yes, you will, because it takes too much time and it's too hard to do the work to stop doing it in the first place. A person who's going to change will only change for themselves. They're not going to change for anyone else. Never equals next time. Exactly. Yes, indeed. Every single time. My ex told me he'd never do it again. If I had $1 for every single time. And it's with everyone. Hey, Maki, there's a little one out there laughing. Not sure what's happening. So I stopped watching Aaron's videos a while ago because he just started looking worse and worse and worse to me physically. And I have childhood trauma from something. And when I saw certain physical things going on with Aaron, I couldn't watch his videos anymore. And at the time, I didn't know why. And then this person that I'm speaking with is telling me that he uses, I don't think I can say that word on here, the nose candy, and also alcohol. That is a no for me, okay? Now, if somebody else chooses to do that, that's fine, but I can't see that. The puffy under eyes, the puffy face, the sweating all the time, the eyes bugging out of the head, there's a vibe There's a vibe, and I can't with that. If there's a movie with someone in it who is portraying that, I can't watch it. It's just a me thing. If he happens to see this, rehab might be a good idea. Therapy would definitely be a good idea if you ever want to have a positive relationship. Maybe he doesn't care about that. Maybe he's just a badge slayer and he will never care about that. But understand that what we do, if we have children, our children see that. We're not going to talk about individual children or any of that. But it was brought up in Jenna's video that certain things were said. Maybe that should be thought about. If his children are telling her child that they hope he treats her better than he treats their mom, maybe, just maybe, think about that. That speaks volumes. Children see and hear what we do. They know. I knew when I was a child. I absolutely knew. Yeah. Yep. Now, the videos from Jenna and Lindsay are allegations. Nothing has, come to criminal charges or any of that. None of this has been tried in a court of law. But we know how prevalent DV is. In fact, whatever statistics are out there, those statistics are actually low because a lot of people who suffer in DV situations don't come forward. They don't disclose. They may disclose to a victim's advocate. They may disclose to a family member or a friend, but most of them, many of them don't disclose to law enforcement. And charges are never pressed. Coercive control should be a crime because it is highly destructive. As destructive as the coercive control in Scientology is, that is how destructive it is in a relationship. You can compare the two. That's why I started talking about other things besides DV in situationships, because you can compare all of it. You can compare politics, you can compare religions, you can compare social groups, friendships, family groups, like extended family, workplace situations. Abuse can happen anywhere. Anyone can be abused, anyone can be the abuser. Both Lindsay and Jenna described gaslighting, Darvo, using sympathy ploys, a little bit of love bombing. It sounded like from Jenna, not so much from Lindsay. Hoovering. Do y'all know what hoovering is? Because this is important. When they leave and you think it's done and they're gone and that's it. Lindsay talked about this a lot. Hoovering. They come back to you and they try to hoover you back up like they're a vacuum cleaner. They want you back. That's called hoovering. It is an abuse tactic. Both Lindsay and Jenna, if you're a friend of Aaron's, you might want to really think about what you do and don't do on his behalf, because they both described fleas and flying monkeys. That's not a good look either, because that's actually all abuse too. It's abuse by proxy. Abuse by proxy is when an abuser will use friends, family, coworkers, law enforcement, family court, criminal court, whatever, lawsuits to continue to abuse their victim. It's abuse by proxy. Fleas and flying monkeys are extremely toxic. If somebody is in a situationship, okay, let's say you're friends with both, or you're friends with one but not the other. And the one is saying, "Ah, she's just crazy. She's just crazy. Manic depressive, bipolar, schizophrenic." I've heard it all from abusers directed at victims. When I was a victim's advocate and that was my client they were talking about, okay? That's called the nuts or sluts defense by lawyers. It comes up all the time. And it's used now also in a lot of victims advocates are using it because it's true. Nuts or a slut. The abuser will sit there and accuse the victim of just being nuts. She's just nuts. Never mind the fact that the abuse might be exacerbating already existent mental illness, or it might take somebody who doesn't have a mental illness and make them feel like they're absolutely insane. Why? Because gaslighting and Darvo and all the rest of it make you feel like you're crazy. That's what they do. That's literally what they do. They destabilize you and make you feel like there is no stable ground under you at all. And there's no hope for sanity. And then you start trauma bonding potentially even more to that person because you need comfort, but they don't want you to go out there and speak to anybody about what's happening. So you have no one to talk to. So you have no comfort. So you have to rely on the abuser to get the comfort, setting you up to fail. It sounds like there was a whole lot of setting up to fail going on. And with Lindsay, she's in recovery from addiction. And he goes to her house with booze on his breath. Well, that doesn't show respect for somebody's sobriety at all. In fact, that shows an utter lack of respect for that person's sobriety. All right. There's more I could say. I'm going to leave it there. If anyone wants to ask questions, please do. I'm really, wow. Disappointed, very disappointed. All right, so any questions, comments, anything? Please hit that like button if you like what I'm throwing down here. Sorry, I don't have the exuberant energy that certain other people do, but I don't do the nose candy, so I can't. Half the time I'm exhausted. I needed to get this out of my head. I feel so bad. I feel so bad for everyone who's been hurt in this situation. And I have to wonder, personally, I'm wondering how much of a role Scientology might have played in bringing out. I have this theory that Scientology just brings out the worst in people, and almost like it's designed to do that. And at some point, I would love to have someone who has been in Scientology to sit down and talk with about this, because I have so many questions. Because what are my two friends going through? What are they living with? Like, what are they experiencing? And their families have these same questions. Like how are they? Do they need, if my friends should ever see this, if you need personal hygiene products, clothes, shoes, maybe go to the dentist or the eye doctor, you contact your family. They will help you. No questions. They won't say anything about Scientology. We all know I'm outspoken, but they won't say anything. If you need anything, you can contact them and they will send you a care package, you know. A little bit of a sidebar there, but I don't know. So if anyone sees this video and, you know, thinks this might help anyone, you can please go ahead and share it. If anyone has any questions, I can talk all day about DV. It's one of my hyperfixations. Yeah, right? Dude. My cat is so mad that she can't get in this room right now. Wow, dude. Yeah, so I just to clarify, I have unsubscribed from Aaron, and I sincerely doubt that I would ever resubscribe. You do. Shush, kitty. I'm right here. I'm just gonna go back to Tori Magoo. Like literally the first person I saw on YouTube was Tori Magoo. Edun, it's okay. Back just after, I do believe it was just after Katrina, I think, someone told me about this thing called YouTube, and I was like, what's that? And they were like, oh, they have people on there talking about Scientology, and I was like, let me get over there. What is going on over here? Okay. Yeah, I like Tori. So yeah, I have not unsubscribed from anyone else, but there is one person in particular I'm probably going to unsubscribe from, because apparently, as a former law enforcement officer, he does not understand how serious abuse is. I have to actually go take the time to unsubscribe from that person, because I will not tolerate that from current or former law enforcement anymore. You should know better. You really should. So at any point, literally listen, what I mostly do online is help people who are in DV situations or just coming out of them, people who are dealing with stalkers, or, you know, finally got relief from that situation. So if anyone needs questions or pointers, if you're having a hard time with a DV situation, you can go to the National DV Hotline. It doesn't matter if you live with this person or not. It doesn't matter if it was 20 years ago or 50 years ago or current. They will sit with you and help you. They'll help you find resources. You know, if you need a therapist or a group therapy or any of that, they will sit with you as long as you need. I know, because I've sat there, you know, while I'm doing my thing, and I've had victims speaking with them and other things, and I mean for hours. They will just take their time, sit with you. You know, if you just need someone to vent to, the people who work on the National DV Hotline are amazing. And on the website, they have a text thing you can message on there. They have a text thing you can do on your phone, or you can call. I'm trying to remember this dude's name. Yeah, I'm going to be not messing with that anymore. Let me see if I can do this without accidentally hitting one of the videos. Okay, bye. That's that. Listen, if you cannot figure out that anyone doing these things in particular is not a good person, and there's, from what I'm seeing, Aaron is doing this to friends as well. Yelling at people, stonewalling, all this and that, coercive control to friends as well. But it seems to be women. Is that just me? I'm just telling you what I'm seeing, and it's multiple people. So am I missing something is my question. I mean, I don't know. I do know, however, that friendships are valuable and it should not be disrespected, really. I think. I don't know. Okay. Man, watching those videos was rough, dude. Okay, what is going on with chat? Thank you. You know what? I'm going to have to move this arm. I mean, that's a damn shame. So if he's doing these types of behaviors, he shouldn't be on a board of a foundation. Why are there no trauma-informed people? You got a second foundation. Why are there no trauma-informed people on there? Why are there no therapists, counselors, victims advocates? What? On something like this, for people who are coming out of a highly destructive, toxic group, I think it would be extremely important to have people who understand trauma responses and, things that are needed, so with resources, you have local, state, and federal. You'll have some resources that are particular to a certain city. So it would be a really good idea to have people involved who know how to access those resources. Maybe they, housing, education, tutoring for GED or high school diploma, driver's license, maybe. I would think there would be a lot of things that someone would have to catch up on. And you'd need people who are trauma informed, who can go through and find those resources and I don't know, that just, I've worked for foundations. I've worked as a board member on foundations for DV related things. And I mean, when I tell you, they were jam-packed with therapists, every possible person who could come in, jump in, and help. That was the whole point, was to make sure that everything they could possibly need would be there for them. And when you're coming out of a situation, a toxic situation, it can take years and years to recover. Just financially, mentally, emotionally, everything's affected. Absolutely everything. Yep. You can drag a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink, right? Yeah, no, that's the thing. That's what they get you into. oh, he has so much potential, and I love him so much, and yada yada yada. That potential is a hook. It's a trap. The charm is a hook, and it's a trap. The butterflies in your stomach feeling, guess what that is? That is your instincts telling you something's wrong. But especially women have been programmed to think that that's got to be love at first sight. No, that's your instinct telling you to run, bitch. Hello, Opal and Ogum. I don't know if I said that right, but I hope I did. That's really pretty, though. It's similar to exonerees I work for Innocence Project. Yes. Yeah. The prison industrial complex is, oh Lord. If we get started on that, this live stream will be 6 hours long. So, yeah. So any toxic situation or group that you come out of, you're going to need people who, yes, I would think survivors, of course, because survivors, they've been there. They have that experience. They understand this weird created language, right? They understand the ins and outs of it and how the culture shock of being in that it's not a church. It's not a church. Of being in that situation of Scientology. They understand being in that and then coming out. Yes, you will definitely need people who get that. The same thing for DV situations. Same thing. Survivors helping survivors increases the likelihood that new survivor coming out won't go back. I'm going to say that again. Survivors who've been out for a while increase the likelihood that a survivor just coming out won't go back into that situation. So when us survivors are like, hey, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not crazy. You're not alone. I've been there. She's been there. She's been there. He's been there. They've been there. When I first got out, I had this one group of friends and they were very hoity-toity, looking down on me, judging me, last thing I needed. And then I had another group of friends that snatched me up and they were like, we got you, bitch. Because we've all been there. And they formed as a group. The one started a knitting circle. Any thread arts welcome for DV survivors only. And that group of amazing women, they reminded me of what I already knew. That I am worthy. I am smart. I am capable. I'm not saying this to me, by the way. If Jenna and or Lindsay or anyone else in a DV situation sees this, I'm saying this to you. You are smart. You are worthy. You are amazing. You are beautiful. You are capable. And you don't deserve this shit. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Thank you. I'm hoping to help. And with Jenna, I feel like this is just my opinion. I feel like she was being used for clout. And that backfired massively. And I feel like Lindsay, she was just being used on the side, not to be shown publicly. Hey, Eurasian Thunder, how you doing? It's so good to see you, baby. It's good to see you. Glad you're here too. She's Eurasian Thunder is over on the Clock app and here too. Yeah, I'm live streaming over here because I don't have to deal with the BS that happens over there. Yeah, I'm gonna start live streaming probably a couple times a day because I just there's so much going on. I have to get this out of my head or I'm gonna explode at this point. But it's good seeing you. Okay, so it's been a little bit over an hour. So for anyone who sees, if you go and you watch Jenna's videos and Lindsay's videos, I might put them links to them in the description, so you can go, if you want to, you can go watch them for yourself. I'm not sure if I would be rude or triggering or I don't want to be harmful. I would like to share these videos so I can go point by point the abuse they are describing. And they are describing abuse. They are. Certain people might not like hearing that, but that's not my problem. Reality doesn't change just because you don't like it. It just is what it is. I don't know. I have to think about that. It's just heartbreaking, man. Next week. Yeah, I'll put links in the description after I get done with the stream. I don't know. I don't normally. I feel weird about sharing videos on here. But all right, I'm going to get going. I'm not going to go anywhere near a pina colada tomorrow. It's fair use, but it's more, there's more. It's, I don't know. I don't know, would they want me to? When you're just freshly coming out of a DV situation, things can be very sensitive. I don't know. That might be a thing I have to, maybe I'll try to leave a comment or something. I'd feel weird going cold into like their emails or something. They don't know me. They never talked to me before. They don't owe me anything. Consent means everything. That's the main thing. Consent means everything. And consent was taken away from them for how the relationship was going to be. They were not given a chance to have consent on if they would or would not have an open relationship in the first place. They were not given the chance to say, I'm cool with this or I'm not cool with this, either way. What they are describing is that he just did what he wanted. However they felt about it didn't matter. And that is a consent violation. That is boundary stomping. That is brutal to a person's heart. That's the kind of shit that will keep you to where you're just depressed and you can't even function. And maybe you have emotional outbursts because you're having an emotional situation. It doesn't mean you're crazy. So saying that Lindsay is just having a bipolar meltdown, dude, that is one of the oldest excuses in the book for really shitty behavior from the abuser to the victim who's having the emotional outburst. That's fucked up, dude. That's an abuse tactic. So, all right. I'm gonna get going and put the links in the description and think about if it's even cool to videos like this are so rare where I would be able to play it, pause it, and just go point by point by point, each abuse tactic that was used. I don't know. I don't know. Feedback would be very much appreciated on that. So, all right, y'all. Thank you for being here. If you don't mind hitting that like button, you can subscribe or not, whatever. If you're feeling any kind of way because I'm saying this about a person you stan, that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm not telling you what to do either way. I'm not telling you what you should or should not do. If you are a grown adult, I'm not going to boundary stomp on you and tell you what to do. Anytime. I'm going to be here. I do have work coming up at some point on a thing, a project, but I should be here maybe 2 or 3 times a day. I'm going to up my game on that. And yeah, just bear in mind, I don't use, so I'm not all energetic all the time, okay? I'm a normal human being just doing my thing, except for coffee. All right, love y'all. Remember, you have the right to say no. Your no should be respected at all times. And that includes what you do or do not do with your vajayjay. Oh my God. All right, love y'all. Bye.